The air hung heavy and humid as I stepped off the bus. The thick, tropical air clung to my skin, making every breath feel like an effort. I could feel the sweat beginning to bead on my forehead almost immediately. The bus, a rickety old vehicle that had seen better days, rumbled away behind me, leaving a cloud of dust in its wake. Dust swirled around my ankles, a reminder of the dry season that gripped this part of Thailand. The road ahead was a simple dirt path, lined with small wooden houses and lush greenery. It was a stark contrast to the concrete jungle I had left behind. This was Ban Nong Kon, a village lost in the heart of Thailand's Isan region. The village was surrounded by vast rice paddies, their vibrant green stretching out as far as the eye could see. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, where the hustle and bustle of modern life felt like a distant memory. It was a far cry from my life in bustling Bangkok. The city, with its towering skyscrapers, endless traffic and constant noise, felt like another world. Here, the only sounds were the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the occasional laughter of children playing in the distance. I was determined to embrace the simplicity of village life. The slower pace, the close-knit community, and the connection to nature were all things I had longed for. I wanted to immerse myself in this new way of living, to learn from the villagers, and to find a sense of peace that had eluded me in the city. I was here to teach. The local school, a modest building with a thatched roof, was in desperate need of teachers. The children eager to learn were the future of this village. I felt a sense of responsibility, a calling to make a difference in their lives. I was here to make a difference. The villagers had welcomed me with open arms, and I wanted to give back to this community that had already given me so much. Teaching was my way of contributing, of helping to build a brighter future for these children. The villagers, with their sun-weathered faces and gentle smiles, welcomed me warmly. Their hospitality was genuine, their kindness palpable. They shared their food, their stories, and their lives with me, making me feel like a part of their extended family. Their dialect was thick, but their kindness was universal. Even though I struggled to understand their words at times, their actions spoke volumes. They were patient with me, teaching me their customs and traditions, helping me to navigate this new world. I moved into a small wooden house on stilts. It was a simple structure, but it had a charm that I found endearing. The house was elevated to protect against flooding, a common occurrence during the rainy season. It was a new experience for me, but one that I was eager to embrace. It was modest, but it was mine. The interior was sparse, with just the essentials, but it felt cozy. I spent my first evening arranging my belongings, making the space my own. Each item I unpacked felt like a step towards building a new life here. A sense of peace settled over me as I unpacked my meager belongings. The worries and stresses of my previous life seemed to melt away, replaced by a calm that I had never known. It was as if the village itself was wrapping me in a warm embrace, welcoming me to this new chapter of my life. It felt like a fresh start. For the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful about the future. I was ready to face the challenges that lay ahead, to grow and learn in this new environment. Little did I know, my journey was just beginning.
Little did I know, a darkness lurked beneath the surface of this tranquil village. As the sun set and the village was bathed in the soft glow of twilight, an eerie stillness settled over the land. The villagers' smiles, once comforting, now seemed to hide secrets, an ancient evil that would test my courage and shake my very soul. The peaceful facade of Ban Nong Kon was just that, a facade. Beneath it lay a history of darkness, of old legends and whispered fears. My new life in this village was about to take a turn I could never have anticipated.
The children were a delight. Their laughter filled the air, a symphony of joy that echoed through the makeshift classroom. Each day, they arrived with bright eyes and eager hearts, ready to absorb every bit of knowledge I could offer. Their eyes, wide with curiosity, followed me everywhere. It was as if they were trying to unravel the mysteries of the world through my words and actions. Every question they asked, every answer they received, seemed to light a spark within them. They were eager to learn. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and it pushed me to be a better teacher. I found myself looking forward to each lesson, planning new ways to engage their young minds and foster their innate curiosity. I, in turn, was eager to teach them. The bond we formed was special, a mutual respect and admiration that grew stronger with each passing day. I felt a deep sense of purpose, knowing that I was making a difference in their lives. But as the days turned into weeks, I started to notice something strange. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly. A fleeting glance here, a hushed whisper there. At first I dismissed it as my imagination, but the feeling of unease grew stronger. Whispers followed me, hushed conversations that ceased as I approached. The villagers, who had once been warm and welcoming, now seemed distant and wary. Their behavior puzzled me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. I would catch glimpses of villagers exchanging worried glances. Their eyes would dart away when I tried to make eye contact, and their smiles no longer reached their eyes. It was as if a shadow had fallen over the village, casting a pall of fear and suspicion. Their smiles seemed strained, their eyes filled with a fear they tried to hide. I could sense their discomfort, but no one would speak openly about it. The air was thick with tension, and I felt like an outsider in a place that had once felt like home. When I asked, they would just shake their heads and murmur about old superstitions. They spoke of ancient legends and whispered warnings, but their words were vague and cryptic. It was clear that they believed in something that filled them with dread. I dismissed it as cultural differences, but a seed of unease had been planted in my mind. I couldn't help but wonder what lay beneath the surface, what secrets the villagers were hiding. The more I thought about it, the more unsettled I became.
One evening, while marking papers, I heard it for the first time. A soft, mournful cry. It was faint, almost drowned out by the sounds of the night, but it was there. A sound that seemed to carry the weight of sorrow and loss. It seemed to come from the edge of the forest that bordered the village. The forest had always seemed mysterious, a place of shadows and secrets. Now it felt even more foreboding, as if it held answers to questions I was afraid to ask. It was a sound filled with such sadness, such despair, that it sent chills down my spine. I couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible had happened, something that the villagers were too afraid to speak of. The whispers, the glances, the fear in their eyes, it all pointed to a truth that lay hidden in the shadows of the forest. I stood at the edge of the forest, staring into the darkness. The trees seemed to whisper secrets, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. I felt a pull, a compulsion to step into the shadows and uncover the truth. But fear held me back, a fear that was both irrational and deeply rooted. The village at night took on a different character. The familiar paths and houses seemed strange and unfamiliar, cloaked in an eerie silence. The whispers that had once been a background noise now felt like a constant presence, a reminder that something was very wrong. I took a lantern and walked through the village, hoping to find answers. The light flickered, casting long shadows that danced on the walls. Every creak, every rustle, made my heart race. I felt like I was being watched, like unseen eyes were following my every move. I knocked on doors, spoke to the villagers, but their responses were the same. Shakes of the head, murmurs of old superstitions, and doors closing quickly. It was clear that they were afraid, but of what, I couldn't tell. The sense of mystery deepened, and with it, my determination to uncover the truth. I knew I had to find out what was happening. The children's future depended on it. Whatever secrets the forest held, whatever truths the villagers were hiding, I was determined to uncover them. The whispers had begun, and I was ready to listen.
The next day, I sought out the village elder, a wizened old man named Grandpa Thong. He was known throughout Ban Nong Kon for his deep knowledge of the old ways and his connection to the spiritual world. His small, weathered house stood at the edge of the village, surrounded by ancient trees that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. He was respected by everyone, a source of wisdom and guidance. Villagers often gathered around him, seeking advice on everything from farming to family disputes. His words were considered law, and his presence brought a sense of calm and order to the community. He listened patiently as I recounted my experiences. I told him about the eerie cry I had heard in the forest, the strange occurrences that had been plaguing the village, and the sense of unease that seemed to hang in the air. His eyes, though old, were sharp and attentive, absorbing every detail of my story.
The eerie cry you described. It worries me. Such sounds are not to be taken lightly. They often signal the presence of restless spirits or other supernatural entities. We must tread carefully. Let me tell you about an ancient amulet, the Ayin Gang. It is a powerful object imbued with both good and evil. This amulet has been passed down through generations, each owner adding their own energy to it. It is said to have the power to protect its bearer from harm, but it can also bring great misfortune if misused. In the wrong hands, it could be used for dark purposes. Legend has it that an evil sorcerer, seeking immortality, had bound a restless spirit to the amulet. This spirit, unable to find peace, would cry out in anguish, causing fear and chaos wherever the amulet was taken. he died before he could achieve his goal. The amulet was lost, but its dark legacy remained. Over the years, it has resurfaced in various places, always bringing trouble in its wake. Some say it is cursed, others believe it is simply misunderstood.
Grandpa Thong believed that the spirit, trapped and tormented, was the source of the village's troubles. He had spent years studying the amulet and its history, hoping to find a way to break the curse and bring peace to the restless spirit. The amulet had to be found, the spirit appeased. Only then would peace return to Ban Nong Kon. Grandpa Thong's plan was to locate the amulet, perform a sacred ritual to release the spirit, and finally lay it to rest. It was a daunting task, but he was determined to see it through. The fate of the village depended on it. With a sense of urgency, the villagers began to prepare for the search. They gathered supplies, formed search parties, and set out into the surrounding forests and hills. Each step was taken with caution, knowing that the amulet's power could be both a blessing and a curse. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, they performed rituals to protect themselves from malevolent spirits. The air was thick with anticipation and fear, but also with hope. They believed in Grandpa Thong's wisdom and were determined to bring an end to the village's suffering. The journey was long and arduous, but the villagers' resolve never wavered. They knew that the future of Ban Nong Kon rested on their shoulders, and so, with hearts full of courage and determination, they pressed on, guided by the wisdom of Grandpa Thong and the hope of a brighter tomorrow.
Sleep became my enemy. Nightmares plagued me. Vivid visions of a shadowy figure, its eyes glowing with malevolent intent. I would wake up in a cold sweat, the mournful cry echoing in my ears. My dreams were so real, so terrifying, that they blurred the lines between reality and nightmare. Days were no better. The feeling of being watched intensified. Shadows seemed to move at the edge of my vision. The whispers continued, more frequent now, more urgent. I was a stranger in this village, and now I felt like an intruder in my own home.
The villagers, seeing his fear, avoided him even more. Their silence spoke volumes. He was alone, facing an unseen terror.
I knew then that I had stumbled upon something ancient, something evil, something that I did not understand.